All right, the Reds, it's the preview show from the Anfield app's new look set. Sam's been working hard with his DIY set over the weekend and knocked this up with the help of B&Q and that. So but go easy on him. I think someone moaned about this being shaky last time, you know what I mean? They kick off about anything on these shows. Anyway, Kev Walsh and Ian Ryan joining me, Gareth Roberts, to have a chat about Liverpool v Leicester City on Wednesday, 8 o'clock at Anfield. We're just talking about the odds before we started there. The odds for this are quite mad in that Liverpool are 4-1 on, which you kind of expect when you're top of the league and 60 points from 23 games and best return in the club's history at this stage of the season in the league and all that kind of stuff. But Leicester are 16-1 and the draw is 6-1. So, but it's under the lights, boys, midweek and all that, and that's something we always say, isn't it? Like, that's just sewn into conversations about the Reds for years, and there's literally an Anfield app show called Under the Lights for that very reason. But there does seem to be something in this. Spotted this little fact kicking about today, and I like it, and that is that Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool haven't lost any of their last 19 home games in the Premier League, played on a Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday. The record is 1-13 and drawn 6 since losing to Fulham in May 2012. So it's not just Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool. So does that make a difference for you, that it's midweek? It's not.
It's better when you go on a match, isn't it? Like, don't get me wrong, everyone, for going on the ale and that, the Saturdays are better. Yeah. But it is nice sometimes if you finish work, get home and you get changed, and I'm close enough to walk up the ground, so I have a little walk up the ground to stop off and have a pint and then go in. And it just does feel a little bit more crackly when you get in there, doesn't it? I always think it does, and I do like the midweek games. It's just a different feeling to a Saturday 3 o'clock. We've got plenty of them still left. Well, maybe not the 3 o'clock ones, but we've got plenty of weekend games left. So I like to have a couple of midweek games thrown in there because the atmosphere is just a little bit different. I always think the crowd's a little bit different as well in the midweek games. It just feels a little bit more like a local crowd in there, which it probably is because, let's face it, logistically you can't get there, can you? So yeah, I like the midweek ones.
Logistically as well, it's a bit of a pain in the arse for the away side as well, I guess. Not the players as such, because obviously they're okay and they can leave when they want and the club can do all the logistics, but fan-wise, it's obviously quite difficult to get from Leicester to Liverpool midweek for an 8 o'clock kick-off. It certainly would be the other way round.
Absolutely.
Leicester just seems to be a permanent queue of cars to get to it. Yeah. So that makes a difference as well, doesn't it?
I think it does. And I mean, what Kev said there, I'd echo that, to be honest. I mean, even in the last home game, the Kop stood up for the whole match. Now, it wasn't a game against one of the so-called big hitters, but I think there's this thing now where it's just like flowing through the crowd that we know.
And there should be, shouldn't it? Because at the top of the league and there's only 15 matches left.
Absolutely. So I think you'll see that now. You know, everyone is just up for every single game. Every game is a cup final now, it feels like. And I know that's cliche to say it, but regardless whether it's Leicester or Palace or it's Arsenal, United or Everton, they're just huge football matches now. Every single one of them is massive. And it feels like ages since we last played a game of football, doesn't it? And I don't know whether that's I'm sure the manager would say it's a good thing because it gives him a chance to go and kind of, you know, take the players away and do a little bit of work on tactical stuff, etc. Give everyone a nice breather. But I also think from a player's point of view, would they rather just be playing football matches every single week, maybe every 4 or 5 days, every 7 days? We've had a big break, haven't we? I just hope it doesn't interrupt the rhythm and stuff like that.
I don't think it will. I agree with you there when you say some of them will enjoy playing like every 4 or 5 days, but I think they'll enjoy playing that towards the end of the season as they're getting into the meat of the bones, because that December schedule is crazy in England, isn't it? Yeah. So they've just had that, and we've just come out of it with brilliant results, obviously the Man City anomaly aside, I suppose, and we've had a chance to go away, warm weather training, and it just gets everyone back together, probably tightens the bond amongst the group, doesn't it? And now it's like starting a season again, whereas you look at the likes of Tottenham, they look like Pochettino last week. Well, there has, hasn't it? Because Pochettino last week saying, oh, wasted in 4 competitions and well done. That's sound, but you're not anymore, are you? They're well out of the league now. And the European Cup, let's face it, they've got no chance in that either. So our players are going into the European Cup, well, hopefully a title winning run and a European Cup chance as well. Fresh as daisies, just come back on like suntans and all that. I don't know what
I think Kev's right there. I think, you know, the point around a manager that I made before, he'll absolutely welcome the break because he's someone who's used to having a winter break and he gets a chance now to work with the players and stuff. And I think it helps from if you've had injuries, you know, Joe Gomez, for instance, who's had a little bit of a setback, it just gives him a little bit more time to kind of get back towards full fitness. But it almost feels like this one's crept up a little bit because it's a midweek game, you're kind of not really thinking about it too much, but another huge football match for the Reds.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a bit of Jamie Vardy talk in the build-up to this one. Obviously, we're doing this sort of Monday morning. We're recording this just so you know, because we haven't watched sort of managers' press conferences. We don't have all the latest news in terms of injury updates and things like that. There will be reaction stuff from the Anfield app on the podcast that'll deal with that kind of stuff. But what there has been so far is some talk about Jamie Vardy. As I say, he scored 7 against Liverpool in the Premier League. And only Andy Cole, I'm not calling you Andrew, lad, he scored 11. And Thierry Henry, 8, have scored more against Liverpool in the Premier League. I just wondered what you both thought about that, because, you know, he has sort of caught us out in the past with his pace and his sort of style of play. Do you feel now that we're better equipped to deal with him?
We're better equipped to deal with anyone now, aren't we? But we're at the point now where you can confidently look at the team and say we can do pretty much anything against anyone. Obviously, Palace got 3 last week, and deservedly so. They played the first goal was a great little. It was a very Liverpool goal, wasn't it? Their first one where they'd Harry us down and then broke quickly. And I think if Leicester are looking for a template to score a goal, that's probably what they're saying. Well, listen, they've managed to do that, and they've got Vardy up front, who's got the pace to do it. But it just feels to me like you can have a game like that for Liverpool. They've had the time to train it out of them. I'd be very, very surprised if we then have another issue with the same thing twice in a row. Klopp's not going to allow that to happen. And these players are too good to allow it to happen now. So, listen, they can score. They beat City away, didn't they? So they're no mugs. But by the same token, I think we've had our little scare. And hopefully the Palace game is the last one we have. And then you can see us going now with strongly into the running and taking every game as it comes. And I know people are saying it's a bit of a cliche, but it is. Because if we beat them now, it's only 14 games to go. And in a couple of weeks' time, when you're saying there's only 9 games to go now, do you know what I mean? That's the exciting part of it. So it's a massive one. And I think if we can close him down, which I don't think should be an issue, we should get a win, I'd say.
And twisting it on its head as well is the idea that, you know, you do always do this as fans, don't you? You look at who they've got in their lineup and in their squad and think, well, could he bother us? Could he worry us? But, you know, twist it on its head. But if you're Leicester and you're looking at Mo Salah with 16 goals in the Premier League, the top scorer in the league, you know, all that talk long behind him now about some kind of crisis and all that, you know, are they equipped to stop him and Firmino and, you know, the rest of them, basically? Well,
you suggest not, wouldn't you? Because no one's stopping Mo Salah at the minute. He's unplayable at times. And I think there's a little bit of talk about Harry Maguire not being fully fit as well, which would be a bit of a boost. But then again, we've seen Salah, you know, take Maguire apart at times. You know, there's that goal where he really backs into him at Anfield. Yeah, rolls him, you know, guy's 15 stone, 16 stone, and he just, you know, just moves him around the pitch and slots it into the corner. I think the Vardy thing, you know, there are certain players who enjoy playing against certain teams. You know, you look through football, there is always that kind of thing going on. But as Kev said, you know, we are far more equipped now with the defenders we've got to handle that kind of threat. I think they're a weird side, Leicester. I mean, your shout there on the odds, I find that bonkers, 16-1. Like, I mean, they're one of those sides, a little bit similar to Palace, where on the day they're capable of causing an upset to a lot of teams. You know, Kev referenced the fact that they've beat Man City. You know, they go away to Chelsea and, you know, win 1-0, really cagey game, but play them on the break. But then they go and lose to Cardiff at home, and then they lose to Southampton at home, and Southampton have only got 10 men, and they have a bit of a humdinger with Wolves recently where it finishes 4-3 and it's end to end. And they beat Everton over the Christmas period 1-0
Everyone beats them,
but everyone beats them because they're fucking shite, so you can't really count that one. But again, the
Tottenham Blues.
Yeah, all the best lads. But they're playing on the break. And
can't wait for that to become a clip and the Guardian do a story on it.
But yeah, I mean, and he played on the break that day with Vardy and using his pace and stuff. And I think someone like James Maddison, I've been quite impressed with. He's come in and has done bits. And there was talk of Liverpool being potentially maybe interested in someone like that. So they are a threat, but I think the Palace game will have given the manager a little bit of a fright, some of the players as well. And I think, you know, he'll have put a few wrongs right on this little trip away. And they'll have been working on tactical stuff. So no doubt in my mind, Liverpool are going into this fully prepared.
Okie doke. Well, Neil is going to have a look at what Leicester might do tactically with the now infamous Anfield Wrap Tactics board.
Leicester come to Anfield, Claude Puel under a fair bit of pressure, but his record against Liverpool is actually really rather good. We remember those Southampton League Cup games, and in general, those games against Southampton were pretty tough. I think last season we get the better of Leicester across the course of the games, but it still wasn't easy. It wasn't straightforward at all for the Reds at any stage of proceedings. We won there earlier this season. That was a bit of a scrap as well. There's a couple of marker points really on this one. I'd expect Leicester to look something a little bit like this, but in all honesty, we know it'll be more like that. The midfield three will probably be Chowdhury. He looks like a really good prospect. There'll be Ndidi in there as well, and Mendy will be in and around that. It's a physical midfield that's smart and switched on and knows how to win its battles. There's a little bit of a marker point. Danny Simpson started the last game for them and he struggled a little bit. He played at right back as you'd expect, and Ricardo played further in front. I wonder whether or not Leicester may consider starting Ricardo at right back and playing a slightly more aggressive forward in that front three shape. If they do that, it suggests they're going to go for it a little more. Ricardo would, for instance, be very much shackles on for Mane, allow Robertson to come up. You'd say the smart move against Liverpool would be to do that, but I think that you're often better trying to think of how you're going to push back the Reds and how you're going to ask them a few questions going the other way. But sides do tend to do the opposite. So if it's Simpson there and Ricardo there, that's a bit of a sign. Over on this side against Wolves, Harvey Barnes started for Leicester. It was Barnes' first selection since being recalled from West Bromwich Albion on loan, where he had really good figures, something like 9 goals and 7 assists in 20-odd games. So that's double figures in terms of goal involvement from Barnes. He looks like a real prospect. Puel, before the Wolves game, said it was time for Harvey Barnes to become a man. He's 21 years old, and he got picked that day ahead of James Maddison, who came on for him as the game wore on, as maybe Barnes tired a little bit. Maybe you go Maddison and Barnes either side of Vardy. Maybe that's Puel's long-term plan, if indeed Puel gets to enact a long-term plan. If he picks more than one of Barnes and Maddison, say, or even Damari Gray, we know that his thought process is to be a little bit more aggressive than just the tight midfield three. And as I say, Ricardo doing some little bits there, or Barnes here. We know he's looking to be a little bit more progressive if that happens. If that doesn't happen, if it's Simpson at right back, it looks like Ricardo further up, and that battling midfield three, we know that the Leicester plan is going to be to stifle Liverpool for as long as possible.
Okay, nice one to Neil there. I wanted to get you on here, I don't know if you've seen it yet, lads. Si Mignolet's done an interview with the Echo. It's a decent read, worth a go. And he's talking about sort of comparisons between the squad we've got now and the 2013-14 squad. Obviously, that keeps happening all the time because it was the last title challenge from Liverpool. Mignolet, of course, only one of 3 survivors from that squad now, Henderson and Sturridge, the other 2. He says back then a lot of it was about Suarez and Sturridge, whereas now the goals are shared about more. We had a really good team in 13-14, but the moment we got 1 or 2 injuries, it became difficult. We've got a broad squad now, which means we can cope with injuries. That's probably the biggest difference with last time. He also says if the game is deadlocked, there's always someone ready on the bench who's capable of opening a game up. In that sense, we're in a much better position than we were then. He also says the general quality of this squad is the best I've ever known. When we play 11v11 in training, it's like being involved in a top match in the Premier League. Do you agree with what he's saying there, lads, in terms of strength in squad between those 2 sides and the ability to go the distance?
100%, yeah, because the thing that he's mentioned, which makes the most difference to us now, is the ability to unlock a game from the bench. So you can bring a Shaqiri on, and like against United, when it looked like they might be, they had the chance, didn't he, to just do exactly what they wanted to do, get back and defend with 10 men. And Shaqiri come on, it was deflected goals, but they were deflected goals because of the amount of pressure we'd put them under with the new man coming on. So I think that, alongside the fact that the defence now, we don't need to score 4 goals to win a game, whereas in 13-14, like 6-3 away at Stoke, I think was in, or 5-2 away at Stoke, 6-3 away at Cardiff. Yeah. We're having crazy games because we had to have crazy games because we couldn't defend properly. Whereas now, if Liverpool go 2-0 up in a game now, you're not worried. 13-14, we could be 3-0 up in a game and you'd be thinking, oh my God, this could go all the wrong way for us. So I think that saves a lot of legs, and I've been saying it all season, the ability to win a game in 60 minutes and then just take your foot off the gas for the rest of it means the following week you haven't put as much into the previous, so there's just more and more there for you. You're not getting to the point where, like we're seeing at Tottenham at the moment, where it looks like players are swinging hammies and
running out of gas.
Exactly, well, and but it's only January, it's much too early. We feel like we've been set up for the long haul. With the break we've already mentioned, I think that all goes in our favour, and the squad we've got now, City, it's arguable whether it's better than City's. I think in the summer, I think we'll add quite a lot of quality to it because of the amount of dead wood we'll get rid of. And I think then you'll be having a real argument over is ours better than theirs, which is unbelievable when you consider how much they've spent.
What do you make of his comments?
Yeah, I think I broadly agree with his comments, and the same with Kev's as well. I think there's a little bit of concern around what happens if one of the front 3 got injured. So whilst I agree the squad is stronger than 13-14, for the reasons Kev's mentioned, and you can see it in some of the benches we've had this season. It's been quite strong, but against Palace I looked at it and I was a little bit concerned about the bench, and I know we've got a few injuries, but in January, February time you're going to have injuries. It's been a long, hard season, and I looked at the bench and I thought, fucking hell, there's not much on there, you know. If this doesn't go well, there's the odd player on there. You think about Shaqiri, who comes on, he struggled a little bit to get involved. There wasn't much else on there. You know, Adam Lallana, there was Sturridge and Origi, and I'm thinking, they're all right, them players, they're not bad, but are they going to come on and change the game? And I know they have in recent times, you know, Origi comes on and gets the one against Everton because Pickford's fucking shite and all that. but I don't want to be, I wouldn't want to be looking at those lads and thinking, I need you to pull me out the shit here if it's not going right. I'm not too sure. I'd feel an awful lot more comfortable if all of a sudden Dejan Lovren's our third choice centre half and not one of our main two, which until Joe Gomez gets back he is. So I do agree the squad's strong, but I think there's certain areas, and don't get me wrong, you can't cover every single area. You know, there's going to be, you know, little places where if you do get an injury, it's going to hurt you more than others. And I think City in a fortunate position where their squad is as strong as it probably gets, really. You know, again, don't get me wrong, if they lose Fernandinho, there's an issue there, maybe. But certainly up front, certainly from a goal-getting point of view, if they lose Aguero, which they have done, they've got more than enough lads to come in. The front three is just one where I think Liverpool have got every chance of winning this title. The only thing in the back of my mind that just nags me a little bit is injuries. Just what happens if a Virgil got injured or one of the front three lads who we've mentioned. That's the main concern, really. But if we can get a little bit of luck with that, and we've had some bad luck recently, you know what I mean? Back four's been decimated, you know, there's been injuries in midfield as well. But if we can get everyone fighting fit again, and the little break now is giving us that chance, then there's every reason this side goes on and clinches the title.
We'll just sort of back to this match. Liverpool go into this match having won 11 of the last 12 Premier League matches, while Leicester have lost 3 of their last 4. In terms of sort of our record against Leicester as well in recent times, last 5 v Leicester in all competitions. February 2017 we lost 3-1 at the Walker Stadium. September 2017 we lost 2-0 there. We won 3-2 there September 2017 as well, because the defeat was in the League Cup, the win was in the Premier League. We won 2-1 at Anfield in December 2017, 2-1 at the Walker Stadium September 2018. What else have we got? Last 5 at Anfield as well. Liverpool's good record against Leicester at Anfield. Leicester have lost 6 of the last 7 away matches against Liverpool. Their last win at Anfield was in May 2000. And yeah, the last 5 look pretty good against Leicester. We won 2-1 there, December 2017. We won September 2016 4-1. December 2015 we won 1-0. There was a draw January 2015, and then there was a 2-1 win in 2003. Just looking at the league tables as well, and I've got one here in front of the lads. I don't know if it'll be up on the screen or not, but it's just sort of showing the table broken down into home and away form. And perhaps this comes back to what we were saying before, where there's a little bit of surprise around the price for Leicester, in that they're not that bad away from home. They're the 6th best team in terms of form away from home. Played 12, won 5, drawn 2, lost 5, so they picked up 17 points. Scored 16, conceded 17. It doesn't sound great, but it's not among the worst records in the league. Anything sort of, having looked at those records and looking where they are in the league, they're 9th in the table, 31 points. Anything that at all worries you about this game, or are we all feeling really confident about it?
I am feeling confident over it, but it's one of them where we've got to take them seriously. And I think the fans, it's all right us saying it, like, oh, it's a walk in the park. I don't think you're ever getting any of the players saying, oh yeah, it's only Leicester type of thing. I think they all go into every game thinking, right, that's it. The job is out there to be done. I think they probably play the same against Leicester as well against Bayern Munich. That's the mentality they've got because they're elite players. So as much as we might be a little bit like taking them easy, I don't think that the players
Yeah, you
will.
don't see that out of this group, do you? I think that's a really good point from Kev. You know, they're in your face, they're at you, whoever you're playing now, aren't they? And we've seen in the past, haven't we? You know, we've probably talked about it as fans in the past. You go in the game and you think, if they're little bit off it, if they're not quite at it, that's how you might lose. But you don't really see that from this. Like, they all seem absolutely focused. And in that Mignolet interview I mentioned as well, he said, you know, in the dressing room, on the training pitch, we're not talking about titles. We're not talking about winning the league. We are just going, we're top of the league and we've got to stay there. This is the next thing we need to do. And the next thing we need to do is beat Leicester.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think you see it in the Palace game where, you know, there's times where Henderson and Van Dijk are both having a go actually at each other and other players to kind of say, listen, lad, we've dropped off a little bit here, step it up again. So there's a lot of that going on now. I think you do see a number of people kind of stepping up to the plate and showing those leadership qualities, which is what you need when you're trying to get over the line to win a title. In terms of, you know, Leicester and taking them, you know, lightly, that's absolutely not going to happen. I don't think from a Liverpool perspective, from a player's perspective, manager's perspective. You know, I said before, the Palace team probably gives them a little bit of a scare. So absolutely not. But when you've got someone like Vardy, and we've spoken about him already, you know, he does live for those moments where he can play on the break. And, you know, as the home side, even when we play away from home, we'll have a lot of the ball, we'll dominate possession, we'll look to squeeze it and stuff. So there may be the odd time where there is gaps in behind, and he'll look to play on that. But when you've got Virgil van Dijk and a goalkeeper who looks to sweep up and stuff, you go into most football matches confident that you can handle anything the opposition are going to throw at you.
We don't know too much about the availability of players, as we said before, Kev, but in terms of what we do know, it looks like Gini will probably be all right to play. We expect Lovren to be there as well. Too early for Gomez. And Trent a little bit up in the air about what's happening with him. But what are you expecting from the team? What would you like to see against Leicester?
So just goes full strength as we possibly can. So in the midfield, obviously you have Gini in there, and dependence upon the right back situation, because Fabinho might have to just take one for the team and play right back. I think maybe on Wednesday. I'd say if you can get someone else to play there, obviously centre's your dream if you can get him fit. But again, I wouldn't be. He's had the break and he's had the hard work done, but I wouldn't be rushing him back in because, as you said before, the injuries we've been relatively lucky with, but we've been hit with them now. Starting to rush players back at this point would be the wrong thing to do, I think. So if I could do, I'd have Trent in here. If not, I'd put Fabinho over the other side, and I'd say Wijnaldum, Henderson, and I'd have Shaqiri behind the front three, because I think against Leicester, they're a good team, but we should be looking to blow them away rather than worrying too much about what they've got in midfield. So I think put Shaqiri in there, and listen, Keita's, he needs games. But we might be getting to the point now whereby your games will come as and when we really need you to go in there, because we've got 15 games to win a league, and that's the most important thing.
Any difference to what Kev said? I mean,
no, I'd agree.
Milner's not there, is he, because of the red card? No,
I'd agree. I think you might see Liverpool go 4-2-3-1. Leicester tend to go quite similar when they're away from home, 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. I think Shaqiri does come back in for Naby. I think we're all willing him to do well, but it wasn't great in the last game. But, you know, that doesn't mean he's not going to turn out to be a great player for the club. Just needing a little bit of time to maybe find his feet, and that story continues. I think the right back situation, I think you'll probably see Fabinho there. I don't quite know where Trent is with his fitness. Don't think he's too far away, but again, let's not rush him back in. I think Fabinho's more than capable of going in, holding his own at right back. And I expect to see Henderson, Wijnaldum is the two. Obviously no James Milner. Maybe Shaqiri slightly off the right, Bobby dropping in, Mane other side, and then Mo leading the line. And I think, if he picks that side, no doubt, I think we've got enough to win the game.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? With that team, you'd be confident going into it. So I reckon the lads will get it done.
Okay, let's hope so. Nice one, boys. That has been the preview show, previewing Liverpool v Leicester City at Anfield on Wednesday, 8 o'clock kick-off. There will be other stuff there as well on the podcast from the Anfield app, so look out for them. Stuff on the website as well. There is always a written preview of every game Liverpool play from Rob Gutman. That's got its own little mini following, so get involved, follow it as well. And we're going to end today with the Inside the Anfield app feature, Inside Tour. So here's another one of our contributors answering some quick fire questions from our man Sam Walker.
Best away, Blackburn Rovers. Best Liverpool goal I've ever seen, I would say when I think of the first one that comes to mind is Fowler's lob against Peter Schmeichel away at Old Trafford. Yeah, great goal. This is probably a bit controversial, I really loved, might have been a time of my life thing, the green and white squares with the grandad collar. Don't know what it was, absolutely loved it. Probably Ronaldo, Cristiano one, CR7. I don't know. I know he's like the pantomime villain and all that, but I don't know. I'm a fan. Pre-match pint. This is a tough question in my group. We've been drinking for 20 years and still haven't found a place where we go all the time. Used to be Our pre-match we used to go to Thomas Frost on County Road. Now, very rarely pre-match. Do you know what? This is really harsh, but I really hate Neil Ruddock now.